2 nights ago, I was having a conversation with Carl, and he told me how his life was transformed coming into contact with Freddie, and I'm experiencing that transformation as well. Thank you again, Sir Freddie. This is my 20th year in events management, so I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've gathered over the years. And I must say that in these years, I've met some great people. 4 presidents of Ghana, 2 as sitting presidents, and 2 before they became presidents. That was on their road to becoming president. I also met the wife of our great president, Nelson Mandela, Gracia Michelle. And I've met great people like you. Can we give a round of applause to us? And it's all through events, which tells us that events is a great thing, that when we're able to put it together, when we're able to do it the way it should be done, it brings us into contact with great people. In preparing for this presentation, 4 things came to mind, and they are very striking. 1, I have a cousin back in Ghana, Accra, who works in events. And one day, our auntie came to the family house, and he met this cousin and asked him, won't he go to work? And his response to our auntie was that, is it everybody who wears shirt and tie that goes to work? That tells us that even though he was working, and working very hard, and earning good money for the work that he does, something about it did not resonate with that auntie. Because other than that, she shouldn't have asked him that question. So that is one thing for us to reflect on as we go along. And my second reflection, again in preparing for this presentation, was an experience I had during an event that I was producing. 30 minutes to the start of the event, the lighting man had come, fixed everything nicely as we have them here, and I switched it off. He called me and he said that we have 20% of his money to give him. And not until we give him that money, he's not going to put on the lights for us to have the event going. Can you imagine? And I was asking myself, we've sold a lot of tickets. We're expecting people to buy tickets at the gate. And you're asking us money when we're all in shorts and running around to put the event together. How do we give it to you? And he said, I'm telling you that if you don't give us the 20%, we'll not put on the lights. And the man was serious and he wasn't moving. So I had to call other friends quickly to bring in the money to give to him before he turned on the lights for us to have our events going. That's another thing that we ought to think about. And the third is got to do with event staff, that the people that we put together in order to make a complete event. You have experiences of artists who refuse to do sound check. They get on the stage and the sound is messing up and they want to blame everybody. There are instances where they walk off the stage because they think the microphones are not working the way they should work. Sometimes you call people to do their work and they tell you, I've done my part, I don't care whatever is going on. That's another thing that we ought to think about. And then the fourth one is got to do with corporate bodies and government response. Events are huge investments. And when the event or an event is not sponsored, you see that it doesn't come up the way it's supposed to come up. And usually for a corporate institution to sponsor an event, the question they ask themselves is, what is in for me? Why should I associate my brand with this event? So usually they are not forthcoming. So investors in events will tell you that they either ran at a loss or they were not able to produce the event the way they've thought of it because sponsorships were not forthcoming. And government will quickly sponsor if it is political party events because that one goes to their benefit. So again, there is a difficulty there, the investment bit of it. Why have I said all these things? I've said them because we have not, as event people or as event professionals, we've not been able to put our act together in order to make event management the industry that we call it. And I hear people say industry, 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 but industry is not just one thing. Industry is not videography, it's not sound, it's not stage, it's not lighting. It's putting everything together. Okay, so when we talk about event management, it's not the single element that we do. I mean, when we do it, it's the single element that comes together to make a whole. Because the sound engineer alone does not make the event. But if you take the sound engineer out, the event will not be complete. So I want us to reflect on this and know that event management is a holistic thing. Let's not segment them. Of course, we segment them in order to specialize in the various things that we do. But in the end, they must all come together to make a complete whole. Good. Speaking on how the events, technical and production management can improve in Africa. And I've said earlier that we have to put everything together, the technical, the production, everything together to make one whole, which is event management. And I mean, from the literature or from our own experiences here, event practitioners usually gain their skills through learning on the job. And yesterday there were back and forth arguments about it, whether education is necessary or whether you learn the skill and then you go on with it. But the history of event management is that we learn on the job. And we all know from experiences that those people are giving something little because whatever you're contributing or you're doing is not recognized. And we'll look at that. But once we do the parking, once we do this, the backstage, the parking and everything, the smart ones are able to learn something. So I've interacted with some great musicians in Ghana who will tell you that they started as parking boys. And through the process, they are now one of the best musicians celebrated in Africa. They were the smart ones. Others remain parking the instruments for the rest of their lives. And again, the concept of formal education, which is the crux of my presentation. And I'm not going to miss words about it at all, because yesterday I realized the back and forth argument as to whether we should do education, we shouldn't do education, what kind of education we should do. We're going to get it. I mean, the formal education was not yet perceived in event management, because the whole concept about event management initially was a craft, or people have had some experiences, or people have learned other disciplines, and they bring that into the event space in order to put up an event. And usually you realize that for those who have had hands-on, do not have the theory, they do not have the education to support it. And those who have the education also usually do not have the hands-on. So there is a conflict at the workplace. Experience versus education. He says, I have the experience. The other person says, I have the qualification, I have the education. So do we choose experience over qualification, or we choose qualification over experience? And there's a conflict there. And we cut ourselves and beat ourselves, and we said, I've been on the job for 20 years, I produced the sound, I did the lightning and everything, yet he doesn't do anything. He comes walk around and he's giving all the money. I do all the work and I don't get much. Why is it so? We'll look at that as well. So again, the whole concept of event management is the totality of the sources of an event. Okay? And in perceiving that totality, we have to put everything together. Both the theory and the practical. And it's been said that what we cannot theorize, we cannot practicalize. Because you first have to conceive the idea in the mind before you put it into practice. Sometimes we go through the struggle of, because it's not written, we thought that we move straight into the practical. But you do some mental processes of the things that you want to practicalize. And that's what the theory does. So some can theorize it, and even though it's not an instrumentalist, or it's not a videographer, or it's not a sound person, he can direct the sound person to say that this sound does not sound well. Even though he's not trained in sound, but he has read so much about it, he's developed his thinking capabilities, he's able to determine what a good sound is from a bad sound. And for those of us who have engaged artisans in doing any form of work for us in the house, you call a mason to do something for you, and you find yourself rather directing everything. Meanwhile, it's the man doing the work every day. He's the one who has studied masonry. But because your scope is broadened in reading and in everything, you're able to perceive what is wrong about what he's doing. And usually you call their attention to it and they say, yes, 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 that's right. And then they ask you, how do you know it? But you are not a mason, you are not a plumber, how do you know it? Again, we cannot rule out the aspects of education. Because education expands our horizon. It expands our thinking. So we're able to think into even the abstract concepts that we do not necessarily have a real hands-on in the area. So educational institutions emerged. So educational institutions emerged, like Backstage, Sarah, etc. Now to teach the concept of events. Because it wasn't so before. It's a very recent thing. And I've taught event management in the university. They don't do it as a whole profession that they're pursuing. They do it as a component of a course. Because if you find yourself as a manager or as an administrator, and your company has to be involved in an event, you need to understand it in order to make that decision. Okay, good. So what is the event management that we're talking about? And let us not forget that at the top of everything that we're doing, at the top of everything that we're discussing here, is management. We're not going to remain the video person forever. You're not going to remain the sound person forever. But you will grow to the level where you become a manager. And management, we are told, is the act of getting things done. You either do it by yourself or you do it through delegation. So you have to get things done. So we say that what? It is an acquisition of relevant industry knowledge in a formal environment and its application for event success. In a formal environment. And then we talk about professionalism. I related an example to you in my preparing for this presentation. The experience I had with the lightman, the experience we've had with event support staff. There's no professionalism. And professionalism is acquired through what? An ethical work practice. I mean, if we've put our things together and we're doing it the way it's supposed to be done, the lightning man will not sit with you in 30 minutes before an event starts and tells you, if you don't give me the 20% left, I'm not going to put on the lights. Which means that we did not get certain things before coming to the events. If we have signed contracts, but usually the way we approach things, we say, oh, I have my lights, I bought my own lights, I didn't sign contract with the shop I bought the lights with, I just paid them the money and they gave me the lights. So pay me and I'll put on the lights for you. And that's how we operate. But if we sign contracts and there's an agreement that I'll pay you 80% and I'll pay you 20% after the event, you will not have the struggle, the last minute struggle of raising 20% before he pays you the money. There was no professionalism in that relationship. And I don't know how it operates here, but back in Ghana, no matter how you explain it to him, he doesn't care. I mean, the man fixing the stage, he will do it, and I mean, you're in a hurry, finish the thing, let's go. He says, I will do it, leave me alone. And he will leave the thing and it's away. You call him on the phone, he's not picking it. He will be there when you talk, he says, you can do it yourself. You think you know everything, do it yourself. I mean, there's no professionalism in the relationship. So in order for us to be perceived as an industry, in order for us to be taken serious as we want to be taken, we have to imbibe professionalism in what we do. And all this comes through education. An entrepreneurial aspect of it. I mean, we don't do it for fun. Yes, there's a fun bit of it. But you need to make money because it's business. You need to make money out of it. An entrepreneur is what? Identifying an opportunity and working at it to attain maximum output. That is how come an entrepreneur, an investor will put his money into the event. You will insult him all what you can. He identifies the opportunity and you will take the maximum out of it. You cannot fight. Of course, in your thinking as the sound man, the lightning, the videographer, you're also an entrepreneur. You want to make the maximum out of it. So how do you present yourself as an entrepreneur to another entrepreneur so that both of you are making maximum output from what you are putting your efforts and energies into? So why do we have to engage in events management education? One, we say it gives the students or the practitioners the opportunity to learn more in a short time. As an event management person, I will not be able to do the video. I will not be able to do the light. I will not be able to do the stage. But through education, I will be able to understand it and know when and how it should be done right. Yesterday, Carl was telling us he has to produce a sound for Beyonce. I'm not sure she's a sound person, but she's able to tell. She knows what sound she wants. When it's not going well, she comes back, she says, repeat it again, which are all not planned. But she's able to do it because in a way, she may have received some form of education in it. Okay. And let's not forget, you can have the formal education where we go through the classroom process and then the other one where we educate ourselves. Both are very important. And then in acquiring event management education, it makes the event practitioner a well-rounded person. You are not ignorant of anything. You understand the finance, you understand everything that goes into the event, you understand the health and safety bit, you understand everything that goes into it. And certification formally establishes your claim or our claim to have studied the trade. We are in an environment where if you say you can do something, you will be asked for your qualification. When all those jobs are advertised, qualification comes in. They want to know. And you see, the thing about qualification is that it is not just a mere paper, but it shows that you've gone through certain discipline. The ability to wake up in the morning, have your bath, know that you have to attend classes, know that you have to do your assignments, know when to study on your own, know when to sleep, know when to have entertainment. Gives you that balance and shows that this person is disciplined. And that is what distinguishes professionals from non-professionals. And our qualification brings us dignity. How do we brand the event management education? Entry qualification. Who qualifies to come in there? Is it those who have had previous education, or those who have had previous hands-on and now wants to acquire the classroom or the school qualification? We have to determine who qualifies. And then the course content, what goes into what we study? Do we come to do staging or lightning? So everything we do is about just staging or lightning. It doesn't complete the event management education. It gives you just one aspect of it and does not give you the balance that you want. And then the course materials. What are you studying? What is in there? How does it reflect in the industry? Because sometimes what we study in the classroom is far different from what we experience out there. So how do we balance the two? And then the students' grooming. We have to accept it. Now, one of the ways by which we'll be accepted as professionals, event professionals, is the way we present ourselves to the professional world. If you go into that office to look for that big business, for that sponsorship, and we cannot appear in a way that we can represent the image of the brand of that company, then we are sure that we'll get a no-no. So grooming becomes very important, how we present ourselves. And then the teachers, the trainers, and the trainees, what are their previous experience? Do they have hands-on, or are they just telling us what is in the book and they are not in touch with what happens in the field? The teaching, the learning, and then the examinations, which all comes as part of education. And then the students' internship. We have to see how to link with industry, so that when we are taught in the classroom, we don't just remain what we are taught in the classroom, but we have a real experience with the practical world. And then the job opportunities. I've said it several times that events holds the opportunity to create the most employment than any other field of discipline if we are able to put it together. Every organization needs an events person. We leave that responsibility to HR, human resource. So they organize the meetings, they organize the end of year parties, they organize the anniversaries and all that. But those are all works of what? Events persons. And until we bring it to the level that it's qualified to be called an industry, we block those doors. How do we get professional? One, we have the ACCA. ACCA is Association of what? Certified Chartered Accountants. This is a professional body. We have KPMG down the road here, very big, distinguished organization, which has professional accountants there. How do we create professional events people? We have the CIM UK, which is another professional body, made of what? Marketing professionals. We have doctors, medical doctors, we have lawyers, we have engineers. Why is it that in all these professional bodies, lay people cannot walk in there and say they can do it because they know how to do it? I don't think that any of us here who is not a lawyer can walk into a court and tell the judge that I can speak, I can argue, therefore I want to represent clients. It's not possible. You need a certain training. You need a certain qualification in order to do that. And then be able to create that phase that no matter how good you can argue, no matter how good you can speak or reason, you can never enter because you do not qualify. Why can't we do the same as event people? So in Ghana, I have the Institute of Professional Event Management, which is one of its kind. And the idea is to make event professionals. What is taught in the university is just a component of event management, and it's just a semester program. Or when you enroll in SARA, you do a component of what you want to do, lighting, staging, etc. that you do. It does not bring the totality of the event person that enables you to understand the other components that goes into it. And so these are some of the proposed courses in the program that we run in Ghana. And it's leading to become what? Chartered event professional. How do you feel when you can also go out there boldly and say, I'm a chartered event professional? Nobody can push you around. You know your act, you have the qualification to support it. And that is what the world looks at. We cannot be ignorant of the world. You can compare it to football and say that there are great footballers, which school do they attend? But in professional football, we all know that they go through certain education. And even the association that regulates football makes sure that they follow professional lines of trade. So you study all these programs and don't let it scare you because it's many. They come time after time and it enables you to become a well-rounded person. An entrepreneurial approach, we want to make money. And every entrepreneur or as an event person will think in 3 steps. 1, the pre-event. The pre-event. The pre-event, what are the things you need to do before the event? And then the actual event. The actual event is when you have the opportunity to show what you have been doing previously. It's just like you go home and you tell your parents, I've been studying 24 hours. And your exams results shows that you don't study 24 hours. Nobody will buy that from you. So what goes in the pre-event, the preparations that we do, tells the outcome of the production of the event on the event day. And then the post-event analysis. If you want to do the event annually, if you want to do the event again, then you want to think of the post-event analysis. And the post-event analysis allows you to be able to iron out the mistakes that you did so that you'll be able to improve in the future. And it's all about what? Continuous improvement. We want next year's SARA to be better than this year. So after here, we go back to post-event analysis. What are the things that we did not get right, that we need to get right? And then the time to start next year is immediately after this year, when everything is still fresh in your mind. You've stepped on some toes, you go back and make amends, you do the PR, you do everything to get it right. We don't leave it till the next event comes up and you are called to fix the stage, and then you are now running around and thinking of what to do. And then you have teamwork. You can't do it alone. You are the best videographer. You are the best lighting person. You are the best stage person. But you can't do it alone. Everything works together to become a whole. Usually the challenge we have is it becomes a competition between the different departments or the different segments. I want to show that I'm the best. And therefore we don't want to help our friends or our colleagues to succeed. When the event fails, the blame comes to everybody. You may have done your work very well, but because you refused to help the lightning person and it failed, the impact affects everybody. So we have to think holistically. Let's not segment ourselves and say, I've done mine well, let me leave him to ease, let him fail. So the manager will know that the person he employed is not a good person. I told him to take my friend, he didn't take my friend. And he took his own friend. Let him fail. We have to think about the impact. And then I call this the 90-10 principle. The 90-10 principle is usually, as events persons, we are so anxious to put up nice decorations and do everything, which is the 90-bit, which I call the hardware. And then the 10%, the software, which is supposed to be the thinking process. Yesterday, again, Carl, sorry to be coming back to you, said he's able to do what he does better because of what? the thought process, it's reflection. So we major on the minor, and then we minor on the major. So even the people that work in the event, we fail to pay them very well, because we think we don't recognize what they do. The manager is interested in making sure he has the best stage, he has the best musicians performing, he has the best light, and forgetting about the people who will do the work. The man who hires the instruments sits in the office. Those who come to control it are the people who do the work. So what's our reflection towards those people in order for them to give their best? You say, oh, I've paid the manager, so the manager will pay them. Yes, the manager, in a holistic thinking, as an event person, should know that he should pay the people who control the instrument, so that when they get out there, they'll be able to do their best. In conclusion, I say let's strive to achieve the status of ISO for monitoring and evaluation to give event professionals the needed world recognition. When you go to the shop to buy all your instruments, I'm sure you look out for certain certifications on the products that you buy. Is that not so? That is ISO, International Standard Organization. They certify products to say that this product is of what? A world quality and can be used. We all buy products because they are endorsed by celebrities that we celebrate. As an event organizing body, in order for it to become an industry that we want it to become, we have to strive hard at what? Monitoring and evaluation. And in monitoring and in evaluation, we make sure that we continue improving on the rough edges. I say without any shadow of doubt that there is so much to gain in event management if we put our acts together by achieving professionalism. Event management holds the potential to become the big employer, and I've said that already. What are my next steps, my recommendations? I want to leave us all with these few points to ponder over as we go through. Let's develop and continuously improve on standard event education manuals. The manuals. When we buy our mobile phones, when we buy our instruments, there are manuals that comes with it. And not until you read those manuals, you are not able to tell the mind of the manufacturer. Because the manual is the mind of the manufacturer. We use our phones, receive calls, make calls, send WhatsApp, etc. But there's more that the mobile phone can do. So let's develop standard manuals that when one picks it, it guides everything we do. And we know that it leads to achieving the success that we want. 2, we must set up collaboration between events, education, and practitioners for teaching and learning to reflect current event trends. Just so that what we learn in the classroom is not different from what happens out there. There must be that collaboration. And then we must form a unified international body. Let's not segment. I mean, there's nothing in competition when we all doing the same thing. But what we do are different. There must be one body. In football, they have FIFA. In accounting, they have ACCA. In marketing, they have SIM UK. In events, what do we have? At least in Africa. We should have something that becomes what? The professional body that is able to regulate what we do. So that when Sarah is put as a stamp on your event, everybody knows that this is the event I must be associated with. And it takes the minds of all of us gathered here to come together to form that association. Once you do it, it becomes an advocacy group where government will begin to listen to us because they see that we are one. We are now an industry. But when lightning people go fighting, stage people go fighting, it doesn't work. Continuous professional education must be encouraged through professional association membership. I was having a conversation with Sir Freddie, and I asked him how many people have gone out of roadies. And he was telling me in thousands. How much are we giving back? I mean, we finish it and we go our way. We must have an alumni where we reflect every day into what we've gone out there to do after the training we got and what we're bringing back to impact those who are in training. That is the way we improve continuously. We must advocate for more government and corporate funding for event management education. We talk about cost of education. If we make that point, if we put ourselves as professionals, we'll be taken serious and government will listen to us. And the needed funding that is given into medical education, engineering education, and all other education would also be given into what? Event education. After all, event defines every life. When the doctor finishes from the theater, he sits in the park or in the restaurant to have a good food. There's good music. There's somebody serving. All those things are what? Events. We top up everything that they do. And therefore we must be the light and not rather be hidden. Thank you very much.